Good afternoon and welcome back to another ironic introduction to another video. Today I want to talk about the news update Kabam put out there that they are updating the Abyss of Legends 100% exploration rewards. So essentially what they're doing is they're taking away 15,000 6-star shards, and in turn they're giving a 6-star class specific of the player's choice Nexus Crystal, which will allow you to choose one champion out of 10 instead of like the standard 3 that we have become accustomed to. Now, right off the gate, I gotta say I'm not super impressed. Now, on one end, they're not really taking too many 6-star shards away, right? When you think about it, they are giving us one 6-star, and they're taking away 15,000. So we are losing 5,000 6-star shards technically, but we're gaining a lot of selectivity. So when you put it that way, it sounds really nice. But when you look at it from the perspective that a lot of people feel like 100% Abyss of Legends exploration isn't really worth it, or it's incredibly frustrating because of the RNG, taking away shards and then putting in still a relatively RNG-based crystal doesn't feel great. It doesn't feel like it answers. Like, some people are like, hey, this is amazing. Some people are like, you know, it's not really what we were looking for. I lean more towards the it wasn't what I was looking for, because I think the frustration of the Abyss is the RNG in general. Like, there's RNG in your 6 stars. Even with the Nexus Crystal, there's RNG, and I'll show you the calculations on that in a brief moment. But like, even your tier 5 class catalysts are RNG. The only thing you get that's guaranteed is a 6-star generic when you've done 100%, and that just doesn't feel great. Like, you've put in all this effort and you have a 6-star generic, great, but you just might not have a tier 5 class catalyst for, you know, one of the few 6 stars you have that you want to rank 3, because there's really not a ton of 6 stars that are like rank 3 quote-unquote worthy. So yeah, it just doesn't feel great to not have any kind of agency over that. They even use the word here. So yeah, right off the gate, my personal opinion is that this is a ball drop. I don't know, you know, maybe I'm the only one, but in my opinion, if you're someone who's done 100% of Abyss of Legends, if you're like, hey, this 6-star Nexus Crystal sounds amazing, this sounds overpowered, sounds really cool for the players, my first question is, have you 100% Abyss of Legends? Because if you haven't, then I would like you to just kind of like mentally put yourself in the shoes of someone who has 100% Abyss of Legends or is in the progress of 100%ing Abyss of Legends, and ask yourself, if you were that player, where do you think your 6-star roster is? How developed do you think your 6-star roster is? And do you really think there's a ton of 6 stars that you absolutely want, that an RNG Nexus Crystal is really going to help you out more than being able to choose a tier 5 class catalyst? Like, I really think that what Kabam needed to do here was to take the 2 random tier 5 class catalysts and make, you know, one of them a selector. They just needed to give us agency over the tier 5 class catalyst selectors. I think people who are 100%ing Abyss of Legends, that's like the ideal, because like, you could pick a 6-star and still not be able to rank 3 of them. It just completely defeats the point. So many 6 stars, even at rank 2, are just completely overpowered by their 5-star version at max sig, and like, that reality just weighs so heavily in the factor for me when I consider the rewards, that like, to me it's like you're not really pushing Abyss of Legends to stretch your 6-star roster, you know? You're pushing Abyss of Legends to get the tier 5 class catalysts, and having those be full RNG, that was the complaint. At least that's the complaint I personally felt. Not that I'm saying this is a bad upgrade. I love this upgrade. Like, independently, this is amazing, but when Kabam said they were updating the 100% exploration rewards to make it feel more valuable, this was not what I had in mind, and this doesn't add any extra hype. I can't wait to 100% Abyss of Legends. This is just not the reason I'm going to be looking forward to it as all. But it will make a really fun crystal opening. So kind of like the math behind my logic here, because a Nexus Crystal sounds great, but it's still very heavily RNG. So what I've done here is I have the out of, this is the number of champions in each class, and then I've gone ahead and I've bracketed it off into 2 sections. So in the top section here, I have champions that I think if you pulled as a 6-star, you would be super happy, no question, that's someone who goes to rank 3. You know, and not everybody, maybe, like some of these for sure. Like, I personally, I don't have intentions to rank 3 in Omega Red, but I know a lot of the community would. I know a lot of the community would rank 3 a Havoc or a Sunspot or Domino, etc. So that's kind of how I differentiated it here. And then in the second bracket, these are your questionables. Like, maybe you would rank 3 that champion, maybe you would be super stoked to pick that in a Nexus Crystal, but I'm just guessing, like, more likely than not, that's not what you were fishing for. Just like a quick comment, Human Torch is down here as a 6-star, just because if you've 100% Abyss of Legends, you probably have a Human Torch. So because his utility and he's so good against Mystics, even as a 5-star, I didn't feel like pushing up into this top bracket. I have a couple other people who are like fit for similar reasons. Like if you are looking for Mystic, you're probably not hunting for Sorcerer Supreme, Mojo, or Tigra. I maybe even question Symbiote Supreme on this list, but I went ahead and threw him up there. Doc Ock, same on the tech. Like some of these are pretty conditional, so give it some great, give it some leeway. I just wanted to be relatively flex. This is heavily weighted by bias and personal opinion. I want to get that out there because I know a lot of people are going to target me on that. It's just to let me get rough numbers. So first up here, I have chance of not getting what you want. It's much easier to look at chance of getting what you want. This is a very easy probability to determine. Essentially, you just multiply, across the 10 without replacing the probability of not getting what you want, divided by the total number of potential options, and then you multiply by 100 to get percentage. I took 100% and subtracted that percentage above to get this down here. So based on that, assuming like you're in the top bracket, you have a pretty high percentage of getting something you want. And if you're willing to go even to the second bracket when you open these, like across the board, you're looking at over a 90% chance to get something you want. Depending on whatever class you pick, if you're willing to get all of these champions, you've got a really, really good shot to get what you're looking for. Like, I think that's actually really cool. That's super awesome if you're open-minded enough to want something like a 6-star Sentinel or a 6-star Namor or a 6-star Thing. Like, these are amazing champions, but if you don't have them yet and you don't have them awakened is part of the reason why I have like Thing and Namor here in the second bracket. You don't necessarily want to rank 3 that champion in the first place. Like, their awakened ability is so incredibly valuable that you're not necessarily itching to rank 3 that champion and push it up. So I thought more realistically, especially since most people pushing 100% Abyss of Legends Exploration already have a roster of 6 stars, it's more than likely that you probably have some of these champions. So if you're fishing for a specific class, more likely than not, you have a few in these brackets, maybe even a couple in the top brackets, and you're just fishing through 1 or 2. Like in Mystic, you might just be fishing for Dr. Doom and Black Widow Clairvoyant, or Cosmic, maybe you have Silver Surfer and you're just fishing for Brie Larson and Corvus Glaive. So I have, if you only want 2 here, this is the chance of you getting something you want. Still roughly 2/3. That's actually, again, not bad. That's actually relatively reasonable. But the chance if you only want 1, maybe you're specifically hunting Dr. Doom, drops down to roughly 1/3, 40% give or take, which is start to being where it feels more RNG. The closer you get to a coin toss, the worse it feels to open a crystal. The more likely it is that you're not going to get what you want. Because when you look at it and you say, oh, it's a coin toss, right? This 45%, that is damn close to 50%. It's really easy to say, oh, 1 in every 2 people is going to get that. But remember that only adds up in the long run. 100 people in a row could open up Mystic, all searching for Doom, and 20 of those people could get Doom. Or arguably 80 people could get Doom. My point is that large variance in RNG just feels bad, and you are completing the longest stretch of content in the game, costing thousands of units at this point in time, and the rewards are still a coin toss. I'm not a fan. I'm just saying I'm not a fan. I don't like it. And on top of that, to me, in my personal opinion, the 6-star polls, this isn't why people run Abyss of Legends. Like, boosting up the rewards for 6 stars, this is nice. And don't get me wrong, these percentages are way better than just pulling a 6-star basic crystal. I'm not trying to say it's not. I'm not trying to say it's not a buff. I'm just trying to point out that there is a lot of RNG here. What I'm trying to point out here is that at the end of the day, you're not pulling for these 6 stars. Like, if you're doing Abyss of Legends, you're going for the tier 5 class catalyst, and it's the RNG and the tier 5 class catalyst that feels bad. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Those are my full impressions. I know it's a little long-winded. I do apologize, so I'll slap the rant on this for those of you who stuck around. I'm still excited. I personally am still going to be pushing for 100% Abyss of Legends. Not, all in a row, but I will inch my way towards that. I do personally want those 2 other rank 3s, I apologize. This crystal, though, this isn't going to motivate me to buy units or push faster or push harder. To me, this is just like, it's a nice little change. It's cute, but it's not really effective. That said, as always, I hope you guys appreciate it, and I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.